Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. And just let me adjust my phone here. So, time for our weekly card lesson. It is March 25th, 2026. And I'm really excited to be with you today as we're celebrating spring. Oh, just a moment here. Okay. So anyway, I'm wondering, are you seeing things that are inspiring you, that are making you think spring? I put in my Facebook post about today's lesson that I got an inspiration. I believe it was yesterday. I was taking out my bulldog, Lila, and right in the bush right around the corner from my patio, I saw my first robin of the season. So it was like, yes, it's finally spring. So that made me think. I was trying to decide what might be a great, inspiration or idea for today's card. And after seeing my first robin, that answered it for me, and I decided to do something with birds. So let's see. Hi, Aileen. Nice to see you. All right. So, and this is actually a little blast from the past. Let me put up the desktop here. And I don't know if this looks familiar to anyone, but this is, let's see, what was it called? Flight and Airy. And it was from Celebration in 2024. And look at all the colors that are in here. So I thought, wow, when it comes to spring, we're going to look at these little birds and we're going to have all kinds of bright colors. And I thought that really worked out well. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Well, don't forget to sign in and let me know who's watching. And also let me know where you're watching from. If you're doing this on YouTube, please be in your Google account or your YouTube account, and then you can use the comments there. And you can also use the comments in Facebook to let me know who you are. Anyway, Aileen, I'm glad you liked this paper. I loved it too. And the really good thing is, all right, so when I was inspired by the birds, I found this paper. Look at all the little different birds that are here. So to get started and kind of prep for this card, I decided I was going to fussy cut a number of these birds so I could use them on my card. So I just sat down and did some fussy cutting, and so I have those available to me. And then also in this paper pack, in addition to the birds, the backs of this paper is just so pretty. So, I'm thinking branches and leaves and kind of sunset, I guess, with this pretty background. So I decided that I was going to use strips of these papers to create my card. So that was easy. And then I thought, to back this all up, I'm going to use a piece of pecan pie. So this is just 8.5 by 5.5. And then if you scored it 4 1/4, we're going to have our regular medium-sized card for an A2 envelope. So that's what I did here with the pecan pie. And I'm just going to crease my score line here. And then I thought, before I put those colors on the front, I'm going to use a little Very Vanilla to, brighten this up a little bit. So I'm going to just glue that right to the front here. So, based on either what are the colors that are in the designer series paper, kind of helps me to decide if I want to use our basic white or whisper white or a Very Vanilla. I liked this Very Vanilla. It kind of seemed excuse me, just a little softer. All right, and then I have some strips of the designer series paper here. And I think I'm going to line these up a little bit. I did cut them a little smaller than my card front. My card front is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So each of these strips I cut literally at 5 inches high. And then this one is, I believe, 1.5 inches. Let's see here. I'm sorry, 1 1/4 inches. And then this one is 1/2 inch. And this one is 2 inches because I wanted those to equal 3 3/4 inches. So once I was able to do that, now I'm just going to attach these to the card front here as a background. Kind of like that it's multicolored. I've been doing so much with scraps that it kind of inspired me to do something using strips and not a full piece of cardstock here. Okay, so I'm going to frame that in a little bit. So I'm benefiting from the very vanilla card front and having kind of like a frame for my card. We also have some of those little finches, like the birds in this designer series paper, building a nest up in the light on our front porch. And then it sits on my front porch door and looks in the transom and poops on my front door. So they do it every year. And my husband and I say we're always going to put something in that light fixture so that they can't build their nest in there. But then, spring passes, summer happens, fall, winter, and we forget. And then they're back to nest building again. So we also have little twigs all over the front porch. It's a little bit messy. All right. Well, this isn't absolutely centered, but it will do. A little bit wider on this end. Okay, so then let's see. I want to do something with birds and with the sentiment. So I think I need something for birds to sit on. Plus, I want something to stamp the sentiment. So I thought I will put a piece of Very Vanilla across the front here. Now, this piece is 1.5 inches high, and then I have it go all the way across to the 4 inches so that it matches up with the front of my card. And before I decide exactly where I'm going to stamp on there, I want to place my birds, and then I want to stamp before I glue in case I have to do it on the other side. So I liked this little bird. Now, you know what? When they're on the edge of the designer series paper, I don't want to throw that away. So I just leave the edge, and then I have these type of images just peek out from somewhere. And I think we'll have this little guy. I'm either going to put him like on the front of the tree peeking out, or I'll put him on the, in front of the green here. But let's see. I'm going to have the little bird that doesn't have any feet. I'm going to have him sit on top of my sentiment. Well, this answers the question. I'm going to put this guy a little bit more forward. Okay, and then I'm going to slide this down just a bit. And then, yep, he's going to perch himself right on top of the sentiment here. And then I have this other one who has little feet that's going to sit right there. I kind of like that arrangement. So now I know I want to do my stamping right here. Now, what I decided to do is I couldn't recall one of my recent stamp sets that had Happy Spring. So I actually just went digging through my stamp sets from my paper pumpkins of the past. And there was a nice Mother's Day set that also has Happy Spring. So I decided that's the one I'm going to use. So let me just move all my little birds here. And I'm going to just slide this down. And I think since I have a photopolymer stamp, I am going to use my Pierce mat here to make sure I get a good impression. And I'm going to just kind of line this up so I kind of know where it was when I'm stamping here. And I'm going to use the pecan pie to just make the card base pop a little bit here. So I'm going to ink this up. And then around the edge here, I got a little ink, so I'm going to just wipe that off so I don't get a halo effect in my stamping. All right, and I think I got all the letters good. Move that off to the side here. And center this and just go straight down. Give it a firm press and then come on up. Hi, Betty. I'm glad to hear it's a little warmer in Michigan. It's warmer here too. Feels good. All right, we've got our happy spring that blends with our card. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Excuse me. So just going to match up those edges there. Okay, so now I'm going to do a couple of different heights of my birds to make this more interesting. But this one that's just peeking around the edge of my designer series paper, I'm just going to glue flat onto the front of the card here. So like I said, a nice way to use one of those that you might just cut out and think you want to throw away. Well, it makes perfect one to just sit there. Now let's see. I know this one for sure is going to get popped up. I think I am going to pop up both of those. Add a little more interest there. Let me just close my ink pad too. So let's grab the dimensionals. I think I can use regular ones here. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Sue. All right, so let's have this one sitting up a little bit. And then let's do this smaller one. I think I'm going to do one little dimensional down by the bird's feet. So I get that tail feather, make sure that stays raised a little bit. Whoops. All right. Now, I think those are just so happy. And then let's go ahead and I think I'm going to add one on the inside too. So I have my, I'm just going to use very vanilla 4x5 1/4 on the inside here as well. Especially since I have, such a dark card base with the pecan pie. This will brighten it up a little bit, make it a little bit easier to see whatever you choose to write inside. And then I think I'm going to use another piece of our designer series paper here. And this one I actually cut at 5 1/4 to go the whole distance as far as from the top to the bottom of the card insert. And I decided to use another one of the birds here that was, cut off from the edge of the designer series paper. And we'll just have him up here either by the greeting or if I decide to put a sentiment in here. Since this is Happy Spring, I'm going to be able to use this for any occasion. And I think my challenge for myself and for you is if you have anything that's inspiring you for spring, why don't you go ahead and make the card and drop it in the mail this week? And why don't you then take a picture and share it with us here on Plum Crazy Stamping. So that's our card for today. Once again, these are kind of scraps. I had just a small piece of designer series paper with birds left on it, and then took strips of the paper that were also part of this package. And, who would know that this was from supplies I had used before? So with that being said, let me just share a couple more pieces of information with you. So this week yet, the end of March, so for National Craft Month, I've been celebrating by doing a discount on different classes and on products. And this weekend, I actually have two things happening. On Saturday, there is going to be a Scraptacular crop online, and it's actually 3 full hours. And in those hours from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and that's Central Standard Time, where I'm going to encourage you to gather your scraps, any supplies that maybe you've been waiting to get your hands on, and it's going to be making whatever you want. I will be sharing some ideas once again for using scraps. We're going to just do some drawings for some fun scrap packs, and having people share cards that they're making so that we all share ideas. And that's just $8. And then when you register, I'll get you the Zoom link. So the nice thing about conducting that crop on Zoom is we can all talk to one another and share ideas. So I hope that you can join me for that. And if you can't make the full 3 hours, that's fine. Come for whatever portion you can. Just know, though, this will not be recorded. It is a live workshop stamp experience. And so once again, that is Saturday, March 28th. On March 29th, for people that live near me here in Madison, I'm doing a cards and cookies. And this is a new event, and a friend of mine that is a baker, I am going to do 2 cards, and she is going to do 3 cookies and teach people how to use royal icing and how to decorate Easter cookies. So that should be a lot of fun. And that's going to be here on the west side of Madison from 1 to 3 on Sunday afternoon, the 29th. And let me move this aside, and I'll just remind you, if you are looking for things that are going to be retiring soon, there is last chance updates that have been made to the Stampin' Up! Website. And the in colors are going to be retiring. So you will want to get those things early, because what's going to happen between now and the new catalog launching at the beginning of May is things are going to sell out. So this is an opportunity to go ahead and get any of those things that have been on your wish list, or the refill for the ink, for the in colors or cardstock. And remember, if you have a $75 order, then you can get the product of the month, which is a stamp set for March called Notes of Spring. And this is such a versatile stamp set. I'm actually going to put in my order and get my hands on this for $5, because usually this would probably be a $20 to $22 or $24 stamp set, and we can get it for $5. During the month of March, or for as long as it's available. And then the other thing is I have a 4-card free tutorial using the Paradise Garden Designer Series paper. But these instructions and these card designs can be used with anything that you would have available to you as far as a designer series paper and or stamps in your collection. And that would be emailed from me to you. So with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions for right now. Otherwise, I'll be putting out information about things I'm going to be doing in April shortly. But we've still got this last week of March. And I understand when I put out some products at a reduced price last week, I forgot to give you a link if you wanted to order anything. So I'll be sending that out this week. I apologize for missing that. But let's see. Oh, Kim, thanks. I'm glad you like the ideas. And I don't see any other questions. So I'm just going to say, happy stamping. I hope you'll take me up on the challenge and make a card for spring and post it here on Plum Crazy Stamping and share it with others. So happy stamping, friends. Take care, and we'll be in touch soon. Bye-bye now.